Last month, I was in Japan for 2 weeks, and between all the eating and exploring, I went to as many different card shops as I had time for. I looked through thousands of cards across 10 different cities to find the best Magic the Gathering shops in the country. And if you've never seen any of my previous videos, let me just tell you now, Japan is an incredible place for Magic fans. There are so many card shops, they're really well organized, and you can find some amazing deals if you're willing to do some digging. Like, most of these cards cost $5 to $10 in the US, and I found them all in the bulk bins for like 20 cents each. So lock in, because I'm about to show you where to find the best card shops in Japan. It's night one in Japan. I just checked into my hotel and I should be going to sleep because I'm exhausted. I didn't sleep well on the plane. It's like 5 a.m. back home, but there is a Hareruya 10 minutes from the hotel. So of course I'm gonna go walk over and check it out before I go to sleep. Hareruya is Japan's biggest brand of Magic specialty shops. They're all over the country and almost always guaranteed to have a solid inventory and good prices. Walking into a Hareruya is like walking into a Starbucks. You know exactly what you're gonna get. First up are the showcases. These are filled with damaged cards ranging from slightly played down to actual damage, but they're graded on a Japanese scale, so they're almost always in better condition than you'd find them in the US. They're organized by color, then either by card type or mana value, so it's easy to check for specific cards. Typically, you'll find Japanese cards are cheaper than English. Mystical Tutors were 1,200 yen in English and only 600 in Japanese. Stifle, on the other hand, was 3,500 yen in English and 3,600 in Japanese. Meta plays a big role in prices, and 60-card formats are still the most popular in Japan, so cards that see play in Modern and Legacy are usually more expensive. Commander is far less prolific, and you can find some pretty good deals on cards that aren't really played outside of EDH. One of the decks I'm working on right now is a Reanimator list, so I'm looking for a lot of big creatures and reanimation spells while I'm here. Reanimate was about $11, in line with the US market price on the Tempest version, but far from the cheapest printing. Goryo's Vengeance was just over $9, which is $5 below market price, and Animate Dead was as cheap as $4, about 30% below market. I was surprised to find Thember Showed at 30% below market as well, especially since English cards from supplemental releases are rare here. Premier set cards are the most common, and anything from Secret Lairs or Commander products are harder to find. You can find the shop's full inventory on the PCs. I searched up some of the higher priced cards I'm looking for on this trip. Iros God of Victory was completely out of stock, and Villas Broker of Blood was only available in Japanese. Most of the PC inventory is near mint and full price, so it's a little harder to find great deals here. But finally, my favorite place to look for cards is in the bulk section. You'll find cards priced from 30 yen up to 500 yen, and I love searching for treasure in these bins. I build budget decks, so most of the cards I'm looking for are usually in here. Again, they're organized by color and mana value, making it really easy to search for some of the big creatures I'm looking for. Unsurprisingly, you'll find more Japanese than English, but the amount of English cards will vary by location. There was a pretty good ratio here, and I immediately started finding creatures I could use for the Reanimator list. After I finished with black, I moved on to the high mana red and colorless cards. In the sleeved bins, cards are tagged from 50 to 200 yen, and anything without a price tag is 30 yen. That's 20 cents, which is cheaper than most US card shops' cheapest singles. This shop had even more bulk cards at 30 yen each, so I pulled up a chair at the colorless box. At this point though, I was really starting to feel the lack of sleep. I mean, just look at my face. I'm struggling to even read the English cards. It was almost 9 o'clock, which felt like an acceptable time to go to sleep on the first night, so I headed to the register to check out. Oh, okay. It was totally worth it to lose 10 minutes of sleep sitting in front of that box because I found, among other things, a Genji glove in there for 30 yen. Yeah, it's like a $4 card right now, and I didn't even pay $4 for everything that I bought. So, worth it to sit down and look through those for a little bit. Now though, now it is time for sleep. We are in Nagoya today, but we still have a few hours until we can check into the hotel. So to kill some time, I found this area that has a bunch of card shops. It's called Akamon Dori, and it's where most of the card shops in the city are concentrated.
First up, I went to Yellow Submarine, which is another chain of shops you can find all over the country. Cards here are usually organized chronologically, so cards from the newest set will be the first thing in the display case, and you can work your way back through releases. On first pass, there wasn't a lot of English. The Borderless Sephiroth was nearly $20 over market value, Abhorrent Oculus was $10 over market, and it seemed like they were charging more for English cards since they didn't have that many. They had separate displays for Legacy and Modern, which were sorted by color and mana value. The Tempest Mystical Tutor was about $9, and they had a Force of Negation for just about market price. I checked the high-cost black cards for reanimation targets, and they had cards I definitely wanted, just not in English. They had reanimator spells, though they were either at market price or even above. There were bulk boxes sorted by set for standard, although again, not much English. Other bulk was sorted by color, so I grabbed the black bin to start. There was a bit more English here than the standard legal sets, but it definitely skewed more towards older sets. I looked through a few bins, but ultimately didn't find anything I needed. Next up, here's a smiling face I'm always happy to see, Hareruya. I went straight to the black card showcase and found Torment of Hailfire for $15, Animate Dead for $4.50, Sheoldred Whispering One for just under $11, and the Big Valgavoth for under $10. I spent a bit of time in the bulk bins, again, mostly looking for high-cost reanimation targets. And if you want to see all of the creatures I pulled for that, I'll have a separate video going over the entire deck. From the bulk, I hit the PC to check for some of the costlier creatures. Iros was only available in Japanese, Ancient Brass Dragon was completely sold out, as was Cavern Horde Dragon. Summon Bahamut was 2,000 yen in Japanese and 3,000 yen in English, which is $3 below market price, but I decided to hold out and hope for a better deal on a damaged copy. Rakdos, Patron of Chaos, was 4 times more expensive in English than Japanese, but Cityscape Leveler was $8 in both languages, and anytime a card costs the same in English and in Japanese, it's usually a good deal. In this case, it's almost half of market value, so I added it to the cart and checked out.
Still got a little bit more time, so let's try Amenity Dream. This was one of my favorite shops in Tokyo, but I don't know how their singles selection is gonna be. We'll see.
Just like Yellow Submarine, the cards were organized by set, starting with the most recent. Nearly all of the cards from the recent sets were in Japanese, but among the older sets there was a good amount of English mixed in. The inventory for older cards was sparse, but I loved looking through the sets that I grew up playing, like Invasion, Odyssey, and Tomen. Urza's Saga Gamble was $10, and Gaia's Cradle was $931. I checked Journey into Nyx for Iros, but didn't see one among the other gods. Before I left, I spent some time in the bulk, which was organized by color. There wasn't much English, but I did find a few cards I wanted. It was time to check into the hotel, but I stopped by one more shop on the way back. Big Magic is another chain, although it's less common than Hareruya and Yellow Sub. There weren't many singles on display here, but they did have an impressive selection of booster packs. A lot of them were available in English too, including Cold Snap for $16, Time Spiral for $20, and both Morningtide and Eventide for about $11 each. I don't personally care much for opening sealed product, but if you enjoy it, this is a good shop to check out.
It's like a little bit after 8. I just had dinner and I am exhausted, but I want to stay up later because I want to be able to sleep past 3 o'clock in the morning. So, you know exactly how I'm going to kill some time.
There's a second Hareruya in Nagoya, closer to the main station, and this one's a bit bigger. I went straight to the display case and found It That Betrays for less than $7, alongside a Japanese copy for just $4. There were 2 Japanese copies of Iros for $9, but still no English. From the cases, I hit the bulk. Once again, 30 yen is the base price for anything in the bins. I started with 6+ black cards again, still searching for the cheapest beaters I could find. The hunt goes quicker when most of the cards are in Japanese because you can just speed through them until you see some English. I found a handful of cards I wanted in the bulk, then headed to the counter to check out. On the way up, I noticed some older packs among the boosters. They had a bunch of English Shadowmoor and Future Sight for just $20 each, and I kinda regret not getting any for the nostalgia, let alone the great deal.
So for the Hareruya pulls, I got It That Betrays for 1,000 yen, found a Howling Mine for 250 yen, Arcbound Overseer 150, a few cards for the Zuko deck, a few cards for the Reanimator deck, and then just a couple random finds because Elementals are coming back in Lorwyn, so
Picked up some elementals.
We're in Hiroshima today, and we just finished up spending a few hours at the Peace Park, the Peace Memorial Museum, and for the rest of the night, no more planned activities, which means I'm going to card shops. And luckily, literally right next to all of the museum, the memorial, all of that stuff, this district right here has a ton of card shops. So I should have time to check out at least a few.
The first is Yellow Submarine, which is literally 50 meters from the hypocenter of the atomic bomb blast. It's a really surreal experience to be sitting here 80 years later, looking through cards in a thriving metropolitan city. Card shops aside, I highly recommend visiting Hiroshima for its historical significance if you get the chance. This one had a pretty good selection of cards sorted by color, though most of the English seemed to be priced at or above US market value. I contemplated the Japanese Shrewfus for my deck. This faded Japanese Rofellos was $20, and the $13 Worldly Tutor was the first English card below market price. The trend continued with Archfiend of Despair for $10, but Delayed Blast Fireball, a card I need for Zuko, was $6 over market. I had a quick look through the bulk, and this is actually the only shop in Japan where I've ever seen English cards separated into their own bulk bin. Ultimately though, I just picked up some foil Saproling tokens. I guess the only thing I really try to collect is Saprolings, and I'd eventually love to have all the different printings for my Shrewfus deck. From there, I went to Hareruya Hiroshima, which was relatively small, but I was really surprised by what I found. The showcases were a little light, but they had Grizzlebrand for $4. Tempest Reanimates were a little above US prices, Revised Demonic Tutors in poor condition were $30 each, and a Morningtide Scapeshift was half of US market value. I checked the PC for a few cards, but found basically the exact same results as in Nagoya. Iros and Ancient Brass Dragon were sold out, and the rest of what I searched up was priced exactly the same. It made me start to wonder if Hareruya had centralized their pricing since the last time I was in Japan. From the PC, I headed to the bulk, which was a pretty modest collection by Hareruya standards. Cards were only sorted by color, so I couldn't focus on high mana costs, but that turned out to be a good thing. When you're only looking at specific mana values, you end up seeing the same cards over and over again. But here, where I had to look through the entire curve, I found a ton of cards that I wasn't ever seeing at other shops. Sometimes Hareruya will have a bin labeled Fresh Corner, and it's for cards that were just priced but haven't been sorted yet. So if you ever see one of these, it's worth a look. I forgot my AirPods, which meant I had to raw dog this, but it's almost like meditating, just flicking through cards in silence. I know it doesn't look like it, but I'm having so much fun right now. This is literally one of my favorite things to do. It's that poor man's booster high I've talked about before. Every time you find a card you want in the bulk, it's like pulling a hit without wasting money on a booster. On the way out, I passed a map of all the Hareruya stores, and there really are a lot of them.
I spent way longer in there than I intended to. That was 2 hours looking through all of those bins, but I found a lot. I think it was like 37 cards by the end of it. But it's late now, and I'm just gonna head back to the hotel and get some sleep. But first, let's look at these cards. I just grabbed some cheap duels, the ones I usually throw in my decks, just random colors, whatever I came across. And a few cards for another deck I'm working on, Bone Crusher Giant, Will's Reversal, Hellkite Charger. And finally, the fun stuff, a bunch of Commander staples, Blasphemous Act, 100 yen, Vandal Blast, Tamio's Safekeeping, Kodama's Reach. I thought Kodama's Reach is a cool card to have in Japanese. Japanese Soul Ring, Japanese Swiftfoot Boots. I mean, it doesn't need to be in English, we know what they do. English Swiftfoot Boots, Command Tower, Selfless Spirit, Path to Exile, Lignify, Feed the Swarm, Goblin Bombardment, and Mana Barbs, 100 yen each. The Tempest printing, the 6th edition printing, great deals on those. Gravitational Shift. I couldn't pass up this old regrowth, what is that, 4th? 3rd edition? I don't know. Seeker of Skybreak, and then just a few random cards that, like, maybe I'll play someday. It's my last night in Hiroshima, and we've had an eventful day. We took the ferry out to Miyajima, went to Utsunomiya, the shrine, out on the water, and then we were supposed to go to the Mazda Museum. I even wore my Red Suns shirt for today. However, I found out earlier that the museum closes at 2:15 in the afternoon. So we didn't make it to the museum in time, and therefore, I have a little bit more free time here in Hiroshima. So I'm about to get on a 20-minute bus out of the city center to another card shop that I found on the Magic official events locator website. So that means they have cards, right? I am really out here right now. I think I was the only non-Japanese person on that bus. Everyone's headed home from work and I'm going right there. There's the shop.
It's called Bulk Up and it was definitely worth the bus ride. First off, there was a case of older boosters, though most of them were in Japanese. There were a few secret layers and other sealed products as well. The showcases had a lot more Japanese than English, and the English cards all seemed pretty fairly priced by US market value, but the real good stuff was tucked away in the back by the bathroom. There was a full shelf of bulk sorted by color and rarity, and I had a lot of time to spare, so I settled in to start digging. I started with black and red since those are the main colors I'm looking for right now, but after I finished with those, I continued the hunt into the rest of the pie. I looked for so long that the place cleared out as players finished their games and went home. By the time I brought my stack of cards up to the register, I was the only person left in the store.
Big old stack of cards for $14. I went crazy in that little shop, but let's start with the Reanimator deck pulls. Remember, these are 30 yen each without a price tag. Then I found Silent Arbiter, 80 yen. Haunted Crossroads, a card I love playing, 100 yen. Nyx Lotus for 100 yen, so I grabbed 4 of them. Life Finds a Way, 100 yen. Mystic Confluence, 80 yen. Nature's Claim, 80 yen. Tricassia's Welcome, 80 yen. Relic of Legends, 50 yen. Island Sanctuary, 50 yen. And then from here on out, everything else was 30 yen. Rhystic Tutor, 2 copies. Braid's Arisen Nightmare, 2 copies. Crawl Space, 2 copies. A few more cards for the Zuko deck. Overmaster. Shared Animosity. Reese the Redeemed. Seagate Loremaster and Harabaz Druid. These recently spiked when Katara was revealed. 30 yen each. Traumatized, Cut Your Losses. I don't know why I bought more, but I love these cards. Change of Plans, Faces of the Past, Magus of the Candelabra, Setessan Champion, Threats Undetected. I'm not done yet though. I'm about to find a bus on this timetable and head back towards my hotel. There is one more card shop nearby that I want to check out, and then I'm going to sleep. I didn't want to wait 20 minutes for the bus, so I called a taxi.
This shop is called Johnny's Shop, literally. The showcases were heavily Japanese, though there were some great prices if you don't mind playing foreign language cards. At the counter, there was a display full of sealed product, including a lot of booster boxes, though almost all of it was in Japanese as well. They had a 5th edition starter deck for $89, which isn't bad, and they even had the Derevi Precon from 2013, which was actually my first Commander deck. But I only played it against 2 of my coworkers back then, and then didn't play any more Commander for the next 11 years. In the corner, they had a throne fit for a king, a folding chair in front of 2 shelves of bulk, and I couldn't imagine a better place to spend a Wednesday night in Hiroshima. Now, just like everything else in the shop, the bulk was heavily Japanese, but there were some English gems hidden among it. I think part of the reason there are such good deals in Japanese bulk is because the cards are all priced and stickered by hand. Since they're not in a digital inventory, the prices don't get updated automatically as the market shifts, so some of these cards have probably been sitting in here for months or years and are still priced at that outdated value. In the West, we're inclined to think of Japan as this futuristic, technological wonderland, but they actually have a tendency to hold on to older ways of doing things, especially in the workplace. Like, a lot of Japanese businesses still use fax machines to this day. Anyway, I flipped through the cards and built up a little pile of hand-priced bulk until I couldn't ignore my hunger anymore.
Okay, $20 worth of cards there, and that is the last shop I'll be visiting in Hiroshima because we're leaving tomorrow. But for now, I need to eat something and go to sleep. Got some potential Reanimator targets for 100 to 200 yen each, and then it's just deals. Sudden Spoiling, 3 copies for 100 yen each, a few Tempest Dark Rituals for 100 yen each, the original printings of Diabolic Servitude and Victimize for 100 yen each, and then maybe I overpaid for these. I meant to price check them, but I just forgot. Rowan, 100 yen, Hero's Demise, 200 yen, Verduran Enchantress, 200 yen, Molten Influence, 2 copies at 300 yen, and the Wizard Trigger Doubler for 50 yen? 30? 50? I know it's in Japanese, but come on, that's a great deal. I just stumbled into like 30 minutes of free time here in Kyoto, and you know exactly how I'm gonna spend it.
I only had time for one card shop, so I chose the closest one, which was a yellow submarine. I went to a lot more card shops the last time I was in Kyoto, so if you want to see even more shops here, check that video out next. Now, I should have referred back to that video before picking a shop, because it would have reminded me that I didn't find many deals on English cards here. I scanned the displays and nothing caught my eye, so I decided to spend the rest of my time in the bulk. It was sorted by color, and although there was a pocket of English at the front, the majority ended up being Japanese. I grabbed a few spider tokens for my recent Dalsum deck, and then turned to the lands. I love the old frame basics because they remind me of when I first started playing Magic back in 1999. I pulled as many different nostalgic arts as I could find, from Tempest, Urza's Block, Mercadian Masks, Invasion, 6th, 7th edition, and I even found a few from Portal 3 Kingdoms. You can never have enough basic lands.
I just spent $27 on a stack of mostly basic lands, which kind of goes against the whole spirit of my budget deck building thing. I'm sure I could have gotten them cheaper somewhere else, but there wasn't much else for me there, and I'm limited on time, so I figured I might as well use it to get the lands now. Now, I haven't gotten a call that it's time to leave yet, which means I have a little bit more time to head up to Amenity Dream up here. Let's see if they have more than just basic lands for me.
As with every Amenity Dream, the cases are sorted chronologically, and I did a quick scan but didn't find anything I needed, so I headed to the bulk for about 2 minutes.
Oh, I messed up. The bulk was so much better there. I wish I had more time, but I had to go. It's time to go. I got the call. I found one card, but I probably could have found more if I had gone here first. That's all right. I got something.
We picked up a rental car to start a week-long road trip heading north from Tokyo. The first stop was to check out the Honda Collection Hall at Motegi. After the museum, we stayed the night in Utsunomiya, where I had just enough time to check out one card shop before it closed. It's a Hareruya, and to find it, I had to enter this mall through the Mega Don Quixote on the first floor. It's hidden deep inside the mall on the 4th floor, and every second I spent looking was one less card I would get to see in the bulk bins. Given my limited time, I focused on reanimator targets again, but didn't find anything I could really use. Japanese Balefire Dragons are like 70% cheaper than US market price, but I'm trying to buy only English cards for this deck. The bulk section was pretty small, and the shop employees were already cleaning up for the night as I arrived, so I had a really quick look at the high mana value bins. To my surprise, I found a lot of good options and ended up with more than I expected. I hit a quick search on the PC and found that English Iroas was on sale, and even though it was only $2 cheaper than in the US, it was still the best price I'd seen on the whole trip, so I placed the order and checked out.
Tonight, I'm in Sendai, a city that I haven't been to since my first trip to Japan way back in 2016. And unlike last night, I am not in a rush. It's 7:30, shops are open till 10 p.m., so I've got plenty of time to relax. I brought the AirPods tonight, and we're headed to Hareruya.
It was on the smaller side as far as Hareruyas go, but they had some pretty cool stuff in the showcase. First up, there was a newly added cards section which had Amulet of Vigor for $28, Lake of the Dead for $66, Borderless Underground Mortuary for $10, and a Grand Prix promo Chrome Mox for $125. Kozilek was $32, Mystical Tutor was $6.60 in English, Mystic Remoras were $8, Freed from the Real was $8 in English or $4 in French, Donates were $5.50 each, and Japanese Ristic Studies were just over $20. Vision's Vampiric Tutor was $47 with 6th edition Japanese priced at just $28. Culling the Week was about $9 all the way down to $4 in Japanese. Ad Nauseam was $13 in English and $5.50 in Japanese, and Stronghold Grave Packs were $14 each. In the Reanimator Targets section, I found the Big Valgaboth for $11. A Faded Food Chain reprint was $18, Scape Shift was just $33, and Alurin was $23. But Last March and Craterhoof were priced right around market. In the Unique Lands section, Tolarian Academy was $105, and the Japanese copy was just over half that. I checked the PC to find that English Iros was on sale here too. Wild Magic Sorcerer wasn't available in English, nor was Prosper, and it would have been pretty overpriced if it was. put my AirPods in and settled in for the bulk run. I started with the fresh corner bins before moving on to the typical color sorted stuff. After I finished with the bulk, I asked to grab the Valgavoth from the case. So here's what I picked up. Valgavoth, of course, Surge Conductor, Vernal Fen, Hunting Ground, Scion of Darkness, Pariah, Delaying Shield, Trade Secrets, Opera Love Song, Spine of Ishsaw, Arcane Signet and Thought Vessel from 40k, and a pair of fancy Zephyr boots. Next up, I'm checking out a shop called Seagull, and with a sign this big, this might be the first card shop that actually wants to be found. And I still couldn't find it because I couldn't get to the second floor.
I can't go to the second floor. How am I supposed to get to this card shop? Oh, I can't even use the excuse that it was in Japanese. I just can't read.
These display cases were making me nervous because shops that carry this many different TCGs often don't have magic, but luckily that wasn't the case here. I know I'm moving too fast to tell, but there was hardly any English. Among the few English cards that were there weren't many great deals. Twilight Prophet, for example, was priced at 500 yen, but consistently showed up in bulk bins at other shops. Speaking of bulk bins, they had a ton here, but again, they carry so many different TCGs that only a handful were magic. They weren't sorted at all, and just like the cases, there was hardly any English. The last place to check was the iPad inventory, and of all the cards I looked up, I didn't find any in stock in English. I just happened to pass one more shop on my walk back to the hotel, so I figured I'd check it out, but I was just a little too late.
Tonight we're in Morioka, and there is one card shop that I could find nearby, near the hotel, and I think the entrance to the building is around maybe over here? Okay, not there. Oh, there it is. I was literally walking right past it.
It's called Tournament Center Batoroco, and apparently there are a few of them around the country. They had a little bit of sealed product available, but I didn't see any magic in the display case, and the iPad confirmed it. No magic singles here.
We're in Aomori tonight, which is basically the furthest north city on the main island of Japan. And there are no official magic shops up here. Nothing comes up on the Wizards store locator. When I searched for magic, the only result in the city was this shop right here. It's similar to a hobby off. They have a lot of anime stuff, collectibles, trading cards, but I don't think they're actually gonna have magic. I expect Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, all the typical stuff, but no magic. Well, let's find out.
These kinds of shops are fairly common in smaller cities. They all have similar branding, but different names. They're full of collectibles and very loud inside. Around every corner there's a different TV blasting some kind of video related to whatever's in that section. I found the cards in the back, and to my surprise, there was actually a bit of magic bulk. I looked through a bit, but it was totally unsorted and mostly Japanese. There was also a display case with very little magic compared to most of the shops I've been to so far. There was a bit of English with some good playable cards like Eerie Interlude, Fervor, Eldrazi Monument, and Skullclamp, but most of them were priced at or above market value. City of Brass might have been the best deal at a little over $13, but that would be it for Aomori.
After a long day of driving, 7-8 hours in the car today, we finally made it to our destination for the night. This is Niigata, and we're on our way back down south, back towards Tokyo. The cities are getting a little bit bigger, which means there are card shops. It's been a few days since I've been in a proper card shop that carries magic, but right up here should be a good one.
This shop's called Cards of Paradise, and it's definitely a proper magic shop. Here's that classic Japanese preference for physical paper. The inventory was sorted by set, and each binder had a printout of all the cards in the set. Price tags were stickered on each card with separate stickers for English and Japanese cards. Standard sets were hanging on the wall, so I checked for some of the more recent cards I needed first. I asked about other sets, and the clerk helped me find Commander Masters from a separate shelf that I hadn't even noticed. It had every set that wasn't currently in Standard, including supplemental sets, which are rare in Japan. I was pretty excited to see that they had binders for all the Commander sets. I started looking for specific creatures I wanted for the Reanimator deck. Archfiend of Despair wasn't available in English, nor was Villis, the Commander version of Kefka, or Archon of Cruelty. While I was looking through the binders, the shop clerk let me know that they had foil and damaged binders as well. They had Sylvan Library for $15, Eladamri's Call for $6.50, Sword of Fire and Ice as cheap as $18, Sword of Feast and Famine for an unbelievable $11, Unwinding Clock for $6.50, Mirren the Moaning Well for $9, and Boseiju for $26. Hatred was $27, and honestly, most of the English cards were priced pretty well in here. Kokusho was under $10, and Mana Echoes was just $12. This is a nearly $40 card that I was seriously hunting the last time I was in Japan. I do regret not grabbing some cards out of the damaged binders, but if you ever find yourself in Niigata, you should definitely go check it out.
Lucky me, there is also a Hareruya here in Niigata. It closes in about 35 minutes, so I don't have much time, but let's see what I can find.
I decided to spend most of my limited time looking through the bulk and found a handful of good reanimator targets. Here's a good reminder to always keep looking, because sometimes you'll find the same card priced differently. This Blood Gift Demon was 100 yen cheaper, and it's pretty much in the same condition, so I put the more expensive one back. I asked to grab one card from the showcase and checked out. From Niigata, we headed back to Tokyo, where I spent a full day going to the best card shops around the city. But I actually already posted that as its own video, which you can watch after this one. But since I forgot to include them in that video, here are some of the cards I picked up from the Hareruya flagship store in Tokyo. I got a Japanese 6 for my friend Eugenio, a couple Blink pieces, a handful of Giants just in case we get some new Giants in Lorwyn, a White Border Worst Fears, and Gonti's Ether Heart. But we're not done yet. I bit the bullet and got a copy of both Vilis and Bahamut at full price, Burning Rune Demon, Shard of the Void Dragon, Rottenmouth Viper, Will of the Abzan, an Urza's Saga Greater Good for $4.50, Foil Reconnaissance for $2, and a Hall of the Bandit Lord for just $6. For this video though, we're not done yet.
We're on the way to drop off the rental car and then head to the airport, but we have time for one more bonus card shop, the Hareruya Airport Edition. I mean, not like at the airport, but like close to the airport in Narita.
It's easily the smallest Hareruya I've ever been to. There was a tiny stack of bulk and one half-empty showcase. I assume the top half was in the middle of being sorted and repriced, but I did see at least one card I wanted in the bottom half.
There it is. Triumph of the Hordes, Sunburned, $6.70.
So that's another trip to Japan in the books, and honestly, I'm pretty stoked with what I was able to find. Now, if you want to see even more card shops in Japan, check out these videos over here. And if you want to see the Reanimator deck that I built while I was there, that video is right over here. Plus, I put links to all the card shops down in the description so you can save them for your future travels. Good luck, happy hunting, I'll see you next time.